Hey, what's going on everybody? Mr. Dragon 47 here. Today, we're going to be doing a top tier weapons list for the Team Fortress 2 Engineer. To let you know, before we get started here, these are mostly in my opinion and how I use the weapons. Also, I will only be doing 5 weapons per slot, providing that there are 5. So, let's jump right in here to the primary slot. Primary slot, number 5, the Rescue Ranger. Now, a man vs. machine, this is probably the best primary to use. But in payload, control points, capture the flag, or any other play now feature games, this isn't just the greatest one to use. It has a clip size of 4 instead of the stock 6, and has 50% less ammo, and does about 50% less damage. But the good thing about it is that you can stay away from your buildings and still repair them. You can also move them while being far away, as long as you have 130 metal. Because it takes 130 metal to move any building, unless you use your wrench to move it. Whenever you're moving a building with using the Rescue Ranger or the wrench, you will take mini crits when you set it down somewhere. If any buildings are about to be destroyed, you can shoot them to repair them. You can also help out friendly engineers by repairing their buildings the same way. But you cannot replenish a sentry gun's ammo, yours nor friendlies, with the shotgun. Number 4, the Thompson 6000. Really, this weapon isn't that bad, but it's really annoying to go up against, and it's not that hard to use. Unlike other shotguns, this one has a long-range option. There's no real fallout damage or meat shots, as opposed to the regular shotgun. This weapon can also... Here's all the good things about the Thompson. This weapon can light friendly huntsman arrows on fire. It doesn't require ammo. The projectile cannot be reflected. If you hit a medic, they lose 10% of their Uber. If you hit a spy, they lose 20% of their cloak. And as downsides, this weapon does close to no damage to buildings, and there can only be 4 shots loaded at one time. I really just do not like this weapon, using it or going against it. Number 3, the Widowmaker. This is a great shotgun to use if you play Gunslinger Engineer. It has a bottomless clip, and every time you hit something, it gives you metal back, depending on the amount of damage you did with that shot. You can hit enemy players or enemy buildings, and it will give you metal back. The downside is that it uses metal as ammo, and it takes 30 metal to shoot once. The reason I said that this is great when paired with a Gunslinger is because this should really be used for close-up, in-your-face, aggressive engineers, which is what the Gunslinger allows you to do. The Widowmaker is also a great learning weapon because you realize that each shot is important, and you need to make sure you hit something with every shot in order to be a good engineer. Number 2, the Frontier Justice. The Frontier Justice is yet another great weapon to pair with the Gunslinger, but it can also be used with any other wrench very well. This weapon stores 2 crits with every sentry gun kill, and 1 crit for each sentry gun assist. You can get up to 35 stored crits, which are granted to you when your sentry gun is destroyed, or you destroy it yourself. As a downside, you have half the clip size, and there are no random critical hits. The reason I say that this is also a great pair with the Gunslinger is because those mini sentries get a lot of assists if put in the right place. Once you get a lot of assists, your sentry will eventually be destroyed, and you'll have a bunch of stored crits that will ensure even more mayhem. Number 1, the shotgun. Reason I put this at number 1 is because it can easily be paired with any other engineer weapons, and it would still be a great one to use. If you're right in someone's face, it does about 90 damage, and that number is faded away depending on how far you are from the person, all the way down to about 3 damage. But yes, this is the best primary for the engineer. Now let's go right on to the secondary slot. Number 3, the Short Circuit. I really don't think that this is the greatest weapon to use. It takes 35 metal to shoot if it doesn't hit anything, and 18 if it hits something. The Short Circuit also does close to no damage at all, around 5 to be exact. And it also does no damage to buildings whatsoever, but there's no reload. So what this weapon does exactly is destroy any enemy projectiles. So, if you realize that your buildings keep getting spammed out by demomen, soldiers, flare gun pyros, huntsman snipers, or any other projectile class, you can go Short Circuit to really help your buildings from being spammed out. Now, the only time that I ever found the short circuit useful was before they fixed the blue spawn and bad water basin, and you could build a level 3 sentry at the door. Then when the door opened, I'd use the short circuit so that the sentry wouldn't automatically be destroyed as soon as the gates opened. But if I had to choose the worst part about this weapon, it's gotta be the fact that you can't taunt with it. Number 2, the pistol. The pistol is a great weapon to use when you either don't need to use the other two, or when you just don't want to. The pistol does at the very least 15 damage per shot. There are 12 bullets loaded and 200 carried when playing the Engineer. Not much else to say about the pistol, so number 1, the Wrangler. Okay, just hang with me here. So, if there's ever a huge problem when playing Engineer, it's people taking out your sentry because the sentry gun's range is too short. Fear no longer. The Wrangler allows you to take control of your sentry gun and shoot it in any direction you want to, and wherever you want to. It can also be used as a great spy checker if you're in a small room. It also has a shield that blocks about 66% of all damage the sentry would have taken. The only downside to this is that when you switch weapons, the sentry will still have the shield, but will not do anything for 3 seconds. The shield will go away after this 3 seconds. You can also use this to sentry jump, but doing this takes about half of your health, so only use this when really needed. Now onto melee. Now before I get into melee, I just want to say that there aren't really any bad wrenches, but like every other weapons in the game, there's always good and bad things about them. So, number 4, the Eureka effect. This is a great weapon to use that can be used as a way to stay alive as Engineer. It does the same amount of damage as the wrench and can build level 3 sentries. What it does that the other wrenches don't is that when you taunt, it teleports you back to spawn. The downside to this is that you cannot move your sentry gun from wherever you placed it the first time. The reason I see this being a viable weapon is that when you know that the enemy team is going to push and destroy your sentry, you can teleport back to spawn and start building a new one before they kill you and have to wait to respawn. Number 3, the Southern Hospitality. This is a great weapon to use when playing against a bunch of spies. If you're afraid that someone's a spy, you can just hit them with this. If you hit a spy, they will bleed for 6 seconds, and you will know for sure that they're a spy. This weapon does the same amount of initial damage as the wrench, and can build level 3 sentries. When you use it, you take 20% more fire damage, and there are no random crits. Now, usually saying no random crits is like, oh, okay, that's fine, but wrenches, for some reason, get random crits a lot, and not being able to do crits could actually be a big downside for this. Number 2, the wrench. So this weapon is great to use because there are no downsides to it. It's what all the other wrenches are based off of. The reason this isn't a number 1 is because the number 1 weapons, in my opinion, have better things about them than this one. Number 1. Now this might sound weird, but Jag or Gunslinger. Okay, so there are 2 number 1 weapons because I really couldn't decide which one I would put under the other. So I'm going to be talking about each one individually. So when it comes to the Jag, your buildings build faster, but you do less damage. I don't think that you're actually going to be killing people with the Jag itself, and whenever any of your buildings go down, it's better for them to build faster. With the Jag, you build faster than you... With the Jag, you build faster than you can if you're hitting your building while it's being built with a wrench. Now, when it comes to doing less damage, you already have a primary and a secondary that do really good at close-range combat. So, what's the real point of whacking someone to death with your wrench when you have a shotgun? Now, with a Gunslinger, it gives you a whole different playstyle as Engineer. Instead of having a sentry gun that can be upgraded to level 3, you get what's known as a mini-sentry. It takes 100 metal to build rather than 130. Having this weapon equipped also gives you 25 extra health. The downsides are that the mini-sentry has less health than a regular sentry and does less damage than one. But the mini-sentry can be put down and will build faster. With the Gunslinger, you do not get random crits, but if you hit someone 3 times consecutively, it will do a crit. The reason I couldn't decide against the Jag or the Gunslinger is because they're both the best melees to use, but situationally, the Gunslinger could be better. Say, blue payload. If you're playing on blue on a payload map, you'd rather use the Gunslinger than the Jag, and if you're playing red payload, you'd be better off using the Jag than the Gunslinger. Well, that's about it for today, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe for more. Leave any suggestions in the comments below, and I will see you lovely people later. Bye.